What's up, everyone? I've got a little bit of time before our Chess Bootcamp live session this evening. This is the group session. And I want to share, well, basically a new opening, a new line that I've started to use. So this is just a 5-minute blitz game on Lichess, and it's against the Italian. So you know that up to this point I've been playing the Rousseau Gambit for a long time. And if they accept the Gambit, then happy days, you do very well. The problem is that if white plays d3 or d4, white is just better in terms of real-world results. If d3, you can get into the Lucchini, which again is very, very double-edged as well. So, you know, this is very much along the lines of, if you want to play something that's trappy, but might also blow up in your face and blow your hands off, then Rousseau Lucchini is fine. But for me, when I started to look ahead in Lichess towards 2000, 2200, people are refuting the Rousseau. Okay, and so I had another look. Well, what does work up there? Now, the gioco piano is very typical here. That will very often walk into c3. Or you can play the two knights defense, which is the one that I've started looking at. Now, the two knights, there we go, is very interesting. Because one of the things that it does is it lays the groundwork for a fried liver attack. Okay, now, knight coming in here. Now, as I understand it, this is not the fried liver attack yet. You know, the fried liver attack is not just that they've got a knight and a rook looking at f7. Okay, black really here needs to play pawn to d5 in order to block the bishop. And then after they take here with their pawn, there are a few moves. And this is what I've been looking into this week. If you play knight takes d5, that opens the door for the fried liver attack. Okay. Black can take here, after king takes, a queen can come out, and it's very, very hard to defend. Black's got to play it perfectly, really, in order to survive that. So there are a few things here. So what I'm going to do, first of all, I'm going to show you the game, because and then we'll look at just a little bit of theory after this to see what I should have done, because I went wrong. Okay, so here I play knight to d4. Now this is the Fritz variation of the two knights knight attack variation. So it's Italian, two knights, knight attack after this. You have to do that, and then after they take, you can go off in different ways. There's also one called the Ulverstad as well. Anyway, so here, well, the idea of the Fritz is that you're kind of wanting to tempt white into pushing d5 down to d6. After which you take with the queen. After which they will normally take with the knight here, forking the queen and the rook, and thinking he's doing very well. But then you slide your queen over here. Okay, and if this knight goes ahead and takes the rook, it's going to lead to horrible complications. And that's a smothered mate, believe it or not. Okay, so that's one idea in it, but it's not bad. The most commonly played move actually at higher levels is this c3, kicking the knight away. Now, here's where I actually misplayed it. I think the machine said I should play b5 here. Okay, but I'll show you how the game went, because it's a lot of fun anyway. So I bring my knight back. They hit me again with g4, which is a bold move, right? But then my knight comes back again to d6. So I've got both knights on dark squares, thereby having lots of control over the light squares, hitting this bishop, right? White wants to keep his bishop, he retreats it. Okay, now I kick his knight out, and his knight retreats. But the problem is, you see here, I've got two attackers on here already, right? Which was not the case here. Here, and I move my knight away, right? So there, I've got one attacker and it's defended, right? But as soon as this knight moves, there's a second attacker in the form of the bishop. Okay, so that's a handy move for black here. And I realised that the well, now I realise that the pawn is actually hanging. And now it's completely hanging because not even the queen's defending it. So I come there, pin the knight. He gives check here. And here again, I think it wanted me to play the move b5. Defended by the knight with tempo, pushing the bishop back away. But I did not that. I brought this knight back round. That's my only mistake of the game. Rook attacks my bishop. I just drop it back, maintaining the pin on the knight. Rook now comes up. Not the best idea. Now I'm preparing to castle, and his queen comes out. So I castle my king. And here, so white is rated 1540 on Lichess. You can see that white is somewhat underdeveloped. This queen side is totally underdeveloped. And he's not got any real pawn structure to speak of. Got double pawns here, got two isolated pawns on F and H as well. Now he pushes up, because I'm already eyeing up this square, okay? Because now there's no king on here. This knight is not pinned, so this knight wants to come there and there. So with 3 minutes 41 on the clock, now it's 3 minutes 41 at the end of the game. So I bring my knight in here to hit the queen, and also forking this pawn here. The queen really, I think, needs to drop back to c2 there, but the queen goes there and walks into a royal fork, which is the square I wanted to go to anyway, and white resigns. Okay, so that's all well and good, lots of fun. I think I've lost more than I've won today on Lichess. Chess.com doesn't seem to be working for me. I've tried to start a number of 5-minute blitz games and it just didn't. Right, so I've got a Lichess study on this. This is the two knights. This is the knight attack. Okay, with knight g5. So I've got a whole chapter on this. You kind of have to play this. Let's put the book on as well and see what people play. Okay, what have I got it set to? I'll do 1800, 2000, just for a laugh. Okay, so here actually black does all right. d5 is the most played move, and white does well out of that. Bishop c5 is interesting, and knight takes e4 is interesting, but these are quite rare moves, and queen e7 apparently loses. Okay, it might be worth looking into those variations. But d5 is played 80% of the time. The pawn takes, and now we can see if knight takes d5, it's a 64% win rate for white. You do not want to go into that line, okay? So knight takes d5 is the fried liver, and we don't want to do that. Okay, now at this point, you've got the move b5. This is the Ulverstad variation, okay? And I will just show you a little bit how we go. So the bishop thinks, well, that's no threat, and now I'm pinning the knight as well, and it's attacked by a pawn, for goodness sake, okay? But now it's not. After queen takes, you're hitting the bishop and you're hitting the g2 pawn, and really the bishop has to go back. Now, if they take here, then you take, and black does very well, 59% win rate from here. This bishop might come out here. Black's getting ready to castle. He is a pawn down, but white's got some serious issues to contend with of his own. Okay, so black does very well from that position. Okay, so they shouldn't take the knight here. They might play knight c3, and here we've just got the line queen to there, still defending the knight, and this is okay. This is okay. But you know, I haven't learned that one yet. Okay, but instead of the Ulverstad variation with b5, I decided to go with Fritz, which is knight here. Okay, now most common move c3, and here these moves are all okay actually. So the move I played was fine. Knight f5, 46% for black, 50 for white. b5 is the computer move and the most successful move. So this is one to remember. And then, let's see how it goes. C takes, B takes, and black does very well here actually. They'll probably go on to take the other pawn. And now it's saying you can take with a queen or with the knight on here. We've got horrible pawns, and we're 2 pawns down temporarily. fact, this is interesting. So if we take with the queen, our knight's hanging. So now they're up 4 materials. Oh, but they're not, because their knight falls as well. Wow. Wowzers, trousers. Bishop takes. And we're doing very well. 65% win rate here for black. They castle. And we just go, whoa, bishop b7. Nice, and it's minus 4.5. Ouch. It's minus 6 now. So although our king is stranded in the middle of the board, we haven't castled. Our pawns are awful. Look what we've got. We've got 2 bishops and a queen that are fired up and ready to go. We've got a rook that wants to come to g8. Right, so all the fun is going to be had by black here. Whereas white, everything's still on the back rank. So very, very interesting, that the old Fritz variation. So that's if they push c3. Okay, so there's a line there, obviously, to learn, pretty much. What if they push the pawn forward to d6? Okay, so this just backfires. This is the move that you kind of want. Let's have a look at this. So c3 is played 57% of the time. d6 is played 24% of the time, and black's winning 73% from here. Okay, because, let's see what happens. Queen takes the pawn. And now if the knight comes in thinking, hello, forking, fun, then we have queen c6. And here, actually, the most common move is knight takes h8. So if they do that, you just capture the pawn here. The rook has to go there to save itself, but then once the queen comes back, notice with this knight here, the queen can't block. And if bishop blocks, bang, there is the smothered mate that we talked about. So that's unpleasant. So after queen, if they just castle, this is the next idea. Then we just take the bishop, yeah. So there you go, the Fritz variation. And quite honestly, how often is an Italian player going to find himself in this position? Well, let's have a look. Let's go back a few moves. The Italian game. Okay, so from here, bishop c5 is played 40% of the time, so that's that. Knight f6, 28%. Okay, so we're already on 28%. If they probably know what to do against that, they'll have an idea against that. They'll know this move is coming. Okay, so how many knight variations have they seen? Right, 2.5 million. Okay, 2.5 million of them. And then after this, they will expect knight a5. Okay, so they expect knight, right, they're expecting knight a5, so they'll know what to do. 2.5 million Italian games, okay. But after this, how many knight d4s are there? How many? 77,000, that's it, right? So we're looking already at something that's pretty rare. And yes, it says white is slightly better, but white's got to be jolly careful. Yeah? You come forward. c3 is okay. Castles is okay. White's still in the game. d6, big liability. Right? But even so, according to the engine, this is not a stupid situation for black to find himself in. So anyway, I thought that was useful. And if you're looking for something to play against the Italian, maybe you've got tired of the Rousseau as well, or you're finding it's not working out so well for you, then join me and we'll explore the world of the Fritz together, or the Ulverstad, or whatever. So anyway, I thought that'd be interesting. Thanks for watching. See you later.